that's a whole journey in and of itself. And I did it very openly on live streaming. I brought my audience along with me. I did that for a couple reasons. One is it was such a big part of my life, and I was on live streaming weekly with a show. I wanted to be transparent, but it also was to hold myself accountable.
This is the Gold Medal Mindset, where we bring you all things winning in business, sport, and life. I'm Dr. Jason Richardson, pro BMX world champion and Pan Am Games gold medalist. Now I'm a professional speaker, author, and winning mindset coach. Thanks for joining in. Get ready to mine for gold as we challenge your perception to change your results. Thanks for joining in on the Gold Medal Mindset podcast. And as you know, I'm super excited to have this guest, Miss Jennifer Quinn, otherwise known as Jenny Q, live. She just wrote an awesome best-selling book, Leverage Live Streaming to Build Your Brand. I'm holding it in my hand right now. You probably saw it on the bumper, which is why you clicked to listen in. Jenny Q, Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be on your podcast.
We did it.
We actually did it.
I had to have you on the podcast because I've been watching, and I've also been a guest on your live stream, but I've been watching, and you've been killing it in all sorts of ways. You've been killing it in the speaking world, you've been killing it on Facebook with the live streaming, killing it in the conference world with Ignite Women, or Women Ignite, I believe, and yes, the best-selling book. Awesome. So, yeah. And then also personally, like just watching you, like I know you've been training really hard and getting in good shape. So you're just like, you're glowing, you're shining.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's been an exciting and hard journey.
And hard? What was hard about it? Come on.
Well, I will tell you mindset shifts and growth and discipline and learning. Sometimes some parts of the journey we're learning new things every week. Some parts of the journey, involve learning new things every 5 minutes just to get to the next step. And so, to do these new things that we've never done before, you have to have a resolve to go through the learning curve.
Go through the stuff. So that's a great point. This is a great part to delve into, because other than you just appearing in my world somehow via the interweb, I don't have much background on you. So how do we go from whatever it was you were doing to all of these, the mindset shifts and the learning, and then the book and the live streaming, and not only just doing it, but being an authority and an expert on it? Who was Jennifer Quinn, and what was Jennifer Quinn doing before all of this?
Yeah. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, I spent about 2 years in the corporate world, and it just wasn't my thing. So in 2007, I started a marketing company. I live in Boise, Idaho, beautiful place to live and raise a family.
That's right.
And I was just doing my thing in Boise, Idaho, just, doing marketing, and then digital marketing, and then social media management. And in 2012, I took a big pivot to social media management with my business, because what was happening was I fell in love with Twitter in 2008. Because of the connections and the relationships that were being made on social media. And by about 2011, people were watching me going, oh my gosh, can you teach me how to do that? And I said, sure. So I hired a consultant who specialized in adult learning. We developed a curriculum. I started teaching old school classes for new technology. And people showed up. They were so excited. And after a 2-hour class of learning Facebook for Business, they looked at me and said, can you just do it for me? And so, right. And so I pivoted my company and created a social media management side of the business, and, was just moving right along in Boise, Idaho, working with local companies, helping them, make it happen on social media. And they would ask me when I would do presentations, they would say, what's the ROI of social media? And I said, the ROI is you get to be in business in 5 years. Yeah. You gotta do it, right? So 2015 comes along. I'm not Facebook. Well, Facebook was already there, but Periscope came along.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. And being in digital marketing, I heard about it really early on, and people kept saying, you've got to check this out. You've got to check this out. So long story short, I really was not impressed for the first 3 months, but I had enough people tell me, you've got to check this out. So I made an effort to really find out why people were so excited about it. And then one night, because I didn't have time during the day to hop on people's live streams on Periscope. So one night I hopped on to a young man's broadcast, Josh Greenbaum. He was a 26 years old, retail clothing clerk by day, live stream star by night, Periscope star by night. And I'm not exaggerating. He had 50,000 followers, and the app was only around for 3 months. And so I was watching, and I'm like, why are all these people watching him in the middle of the night and giving him virtual hearts and commenting like crazy? And then I saw it. Someone suggested or asked him if he would please pull out his laptop and show them his personal development presentation that he had. Yeah. And so he was like, really? You want to see that? Okay. So we all watched him on Periscope get his laptop set up. It was very raw, very real. We watched him get his laptop set up, and we watched him share his, what he knew about self-development, and people loved it. And he was validating people, and there was a real connection being made, and these relationships being built. And I was so hooked then. The next day I was calling my colleagues saying, you've got to check this out. And nobody did. They were like, yeah, we don't have the time to play on Periscope. So, and then about a month later, Blab, I don't know if you heard of Blab. Of course you did. I think you were on my show on Blab.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. And so Blab was a different type of platform. It was in beta, and so it's no longer around, but you could have 4 people on the screen at one time and unlimited viewers. Mm-hmm. And something happened when I logged onto Blab for the first time, and I was like, I could start a show and interview people who demonstrate excellence in their field and do it daily. And you're going to laugh at this. Doing what you do, you're going to laugh at the next part. So then I also got this intuitive hit. Do the show, and by the way, there will be personal growth. Do that too.
Nice.
And yeah, so I bought into it, forgetting how much personal growth hurts. But I did jump in. I did the show. I did it daily. For 100 interviews, I did a daily show, which was so intense because for one 45-minute interview, there's about 6 to 8 hours worth of prep. The way I was doing it, I was doing pre-show production. I was researching the guests. So if they had written a book, I was at least skimming the book, if not reading it. I was scheduling with the guests. I was doing post-production. And so from there, then I went to, because they closed down, so I went to Facebook Live, and I did Facebook Live's first variety show. And then from that point, because I was just so fully immersed in the live streaming community, and I worked for a production company as their program manager and would help onboard big brands and teach them how to live stream. And then I was tagged on Twitter as the number 4 live streaming expert worldwide by Clout. And I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, what? Right? And then a couple weeks later, I was number 2. And I was like, well, here is another opportunity. And since I was already doing it, pretty much full time in addition to running my business, I just decided to go make another pivot and do live streaming. And now here we are with the book and coaching and consulting and, working with companies now who have heard that live streaming is so hot. And can you help us develop our marketing strategy using live video as one of the tools? And so there is the maybe too long of an answer to your question.
That's great. So I'm just going to ask, how do you get paid?
I get paid from, the joke is book sales. No, we all know you don't write a book to make a lot of money. But I get paid from, I do group coaching.
Okay.
And I do one-on-one coaching, and then also consulting with companies and speaking.
All right. So lots of streams of revenue, lots of gaps lots of all those pivots allowed you to kind of fill those gaps in your in income revenue. I would imagine. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So critique me.
Do what?
I'm just going to put you on the spot. It just hit me, right? So this is what's the beauty of podcast. You said raw. I was like, I've done some Facebook Lives and I've done some stuff here. Like, why not let the group hear me get filleted on? Why not let the listeners hear me get filleted?
Seriously?
Yeah, dead serious. Critique me. Yeah, what am I messing up, and where am I messing up, and where could I go? Where could I do things better? I mean, this is like real time, right? Like,
yeah, because I didn't know we were going to do this.
Neither did I. I didn't know either. I just planned. It just like popped in my head. I'm like, yeah, I'm being a bit selfish, but this is like the transparency piece.
Yeah, but everybody can learn from it, so it's kind of cool. And what I will say, I love what you said. I think you said something like, what am I doing good and where can I get better? But I actually teach people that. I'm like, you know what, when you're watching your replays on your videos, and I do recommend you do that because that's one way to really get better. You have to ask yourself the right questions as you're watching it, because our tendency is to just be so critical of ourselves that we become paralyzed and we'll never go live again. Mm-hmm. So the two questions that I teach people to ask are, what went well and what could have gone better? And then you're going to get answers that actually are, will help you get better versus just beat yourself up. Now, with you, Jason, number one, I can tell you that what went well is you're going live. You are going live. You're doing it. You're making it happen, right? And sometimes that's all we can give ourselves, but it's huge because look at all the people who aren't leveraging live streaming. Now, your live streams, and I'll just, I haven't watched any of them for a while.
I'm
fine. Sorry.
That's cool.
You're
busy best-selling. You're busy being a bestseller. It's cool.
But I do know what I've enjoyed about your live streams is that you are 100% authentic. You're real. You definitely have a topic when you go on. You have a purpose for going on. You don't go on and ramble. You seem to have really good engagement. It's balanced. Sometimes people get so caught up in the engagement they don't actually deliver their content. But the live streams that I've seen of yours, you have a nice balance of the two. Now, what could go better from the ones I've seen? Now, you may have already fixed these. I don't know.
We'll see. Sometimes I feel like they get worse, but that's okay.
and here's the thing. Well, here's the thing, okay? When I watch somebody's live stream, I don't ever know if they are doing it, quote, correctly or not, because I don't know what their goals are. I don't know what their strategy is.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if it's consistent with their branding unless I do a whole, audit of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But it seems to me like I've seen a lot of your broadcasts from your car.
Yep.
The things I would make sure of if you're live streaming on the go is that you have stability. These are the things that are super, super important. Okay.
Yeah, stability.
My acronym for it is LAVS. So it's lighting, audio, video, and stability.
Okay.
So with lighting, the best lighting that you can get is daylight.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want the sun shining in on your face because that will create shadows and squinting, right? So daylight is always the best. Audio, if you have a quiet background and you're using your iPhone or Android and it's a newer model, your audio is probably going to be okay if you're within 1 to 3 feet of your phone.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're in a noisy background, you'll want to use earbuds or an external mic that will pick up just your voice. But earbuds would probably be the easiest and most cost-effective solution for that. And then video, again, if you're using, a recent model of a phone, then a smartphone, then the cameras are now getting so advanced with HD. And so, they're really, they know people are using it for video. And so that's how they're creating, and developing the cameras. And then stability, I cannot stress this enough. What that means is don't have shaky cameras. In fact, I was doing a live stream the other day and I was talking about that. And I was like, do you remember the line from Mommy Dearest, no more wire hangers? No,
yes,
more
yeah.
wire hangers. And I'm like, no more shaky cameras. Now, that being said, if it's consistent with your brand, if anything I'm saying, if your brand contradicts anything I'm saying, then do it. A great example of that is Gary Vee.
Right.
He does shaky cameras. He does loud backgrounds. Because that's his brand.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, the audience is not tolerant of shaky cameras. It is, first of all, you don't present with authority and credibility. And that's what we want to do if we're live streaming for business.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, if you want a more thorough, audit of your streams, I'm happy to do that.
I appreciate that. And see that, folks, she kept it really professional, and she like dangled the carrot just a little bit, and then she's like, so if you want more, then we can talk about that later. That was code for pay me to do that, which I totally appreciate and honor that. So there you go. Thanks for the mild filleting. The mild filleting. So
you are so welcome.
All right. So there's a business journey, and then you said there was a personal journey that went along with it. Mm-hmm. So tell us more, and you can go as far or as not as far as you'd like, but tell us a little bit about that. What was probably the most unexpected and or trying thing during, up until this point from a personal standpoint?
It's hard to narrow it down to one because I was committed to seeing the journey all the way through. And with that, I have had huge shifts in, like you mentioned earlier, that, I've been working with a trainer, and he's an online trainer. I met him actually when I was hosting a 2-day event in Las Vegas. I wasn't looking for a trainer. I thought I was already looking back, I'm like, well, that was interesting that I thought I was already doing pretty well. But, so just a quick background for me from my personal physical standpoint. I've been yo-yo dieting my whole life since I was 11. My mom put me on my first diet. And I finally got to the point where I thought, because nothing was long-term successful. Mm-hmm. And so I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I know yo-yo dieting is really bad for me, and I don't know a way to not be obese. So I'm going to just embrace that and be okay with that, because I felt like I was choosing the lesser of two evils. And so I embraced the self-love. I embraced the internal healing. I embraced all of that, healing from the shame, because now that, now I know, oh, that's what that was all about. It was about shame. It wasn't about the weight at all. And so what I did was so life wasn't working for me. This was pre live streaming. This was the beginning of 2015. I went to an endocrinologist because I knew something was wrong, and I needed to figure it out. I just couldn't function in life the way I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And he diagnosed me with an autoimmune disorder, which led me on the path to do some research and find out that diet actually could help that. So I started on paleo. When I saw the doctor, I weighed 308 pounds.
So I have to, I'm only going to, so you were yo-yo dieting and it wasn't working. But then when you saw the endocrinologist, you had autoimmune, and he's saying diet. But I always like to insert the word program.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because people think, because a lot of times diets always is confused with, how you were using it before, but diet is what you eat. It's not like I'm on a diet. Everyone's on a diet if you think about it. But I just want to be very clear that you went from dieting to a program. Is that
right?
Fair? Okay. And you went paleo.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But I want to clarify. He did not tell me that nutrition was the way to go. He said he could treat my thyroid.
Okay.
Because it was an autoimmune disorder that attacks the thyroid. He said he could treat the thyroid, but there were no substantial studies that indicated that nutrition would have any effect.
Oh, so he's an MD.
Right. I respect it. He's the best endocrinologist in town. I got the best,
Yeah, of course.
And I said to him, so then I asked him, is there anything I could do nutritionally that would counteract what you're going to treat medically? He said, no, not at all. And so I did paleo. I lost 70 pounds. I thought I'm a freaking rock star because I lost 70 pounds and kept it off. But I hit a plateau. That's when I met my trainer in Las Vegas when I was hosting, a 2-day event down there. And when we got on the phone, after we got back from the event, we hopped on the phone because I had a quick question. And he was saying stuff I had never heard before with regards to fitness and health and nutrition. And I was just like, I've got to work with this guy. Cut to July 2nd of this year, I hit my goal. Well, it wasn't even my initial goal, Jason. My initial goal was to wear a size 12 jeans because I hadn't done that since high school. Mm-hmm. And so I hit that on Valentine's Day. And then I went, I bet I can go farther. And so I set a goal to lose half my original body weight. So I started at 308. Then I set a goal to lose half my original body weight. I hit that goal on July 2nd of this year. So I lost 154 pounds.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Yeah. And so, that's a whole journey in and of itself. And I did it very openly on live streaming. I brought my audience along with me. I did that for a couple reasons. One is it was such a big part of my life. And I was on live streaming weekly with a show. I wanted to be transparent, but it also was to hold myself accountable. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of selfish, actually.
Well, there's this theory. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I might have heard it somewhere in the psychological world that none of us do anything unless we're getting something out of it.
Yes.
There's that.
Well, I'm so glad you said that because I say that to people and they go, no, there's some altruistic people. I'm like, no,
that's
somewhere
cool.
They're getting payoff.
Yeah. So it's so funny. So I'm going to be a bit, I tend to get a bit philosophical on the show.
Love it.
What I heard you say about your journey was, this yo-yo dieting, and then you said you were going to accept your weight and just be happy with that and, focus on that. And I think, because I've done weight loss groups, I had a contract with a hospital. I was going in weekly and doing that. And a lot of it wasn't necessarily what they were eating or how much or exercise. A lot of it was a lot of the emotional baggage they carried with their self-image. Mm-hmm. And I think that was getting in the way of whatever it was they wanted. So some of the work was really just, let's be clear on who we are and our character and our values, right? And let's take an inventory of ourselves internally and externally, and then move forward from there. And that's when the results started then, because I think a lot of times we get kind of caught up in the whole, I'm supposed to be this and I'm supposed to be that. And you like you said, for you, that was, it was about shame. Mm-hmm. And then, once you kind of let the shame go, or just let go of all that baggage, it was like you were free to just go do what you wanted. It was just like, it was almost, because the way I'm hearing you say it is almost as if, it was like, I'm going to start a marketing company. Oh, I'm going to pivot and do this. And this is the same thing you did with your health and your weight is, my goal was this, but I'm going to pivot and do this. And it was cool. You went from this kind of ideal that was, I don't know, maybe external, like kind of how you thought you should be based on some normative standard, to like just being curious about how far you can take it for your own sake.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Love it. Love it. Anyway.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's sweet. So then now, I met your trainer, didn't I? We were on the show together.
Were you? Yeah, probably, because I asked him to come on every week and hold me accountable.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was it. There we go.
He's a great guy, Glenn Dawson. And, he is a great guy all around. Like, he is brilliant in marketing and he's brilliant in fitness. He's so funny, too, because I'm like, everything. He goes, no, because we only talk about marketing and fitness. If we go into other topics, I'm not going to be brilliant. But he and his partner are crushing it with LiveStream. Like, they are crushing it with their strategy. And they do stuff on there I would never teach people to do, but it's consistent with their brand.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, I have been playing with it a bit. So this is good. How fortuitous that your book showed up in my mailbox, and here I am playing with live streaming. So there we go. It. Hopefully it won't be like Bitcoin or something and I'm too late, but I don't think so.
Oh, geez, no, that's the beautiful thing. We have not hit critical mass, and what I see happening is people and brands, whether it's a personal brand or a big corporate brand, getting really creative with live streaming and making it their own, Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
It's almost like everybody's a brand now, huh?
Totally. Even if you don't know your brand, you're a brand.
Wow. So then what do you say to the people who are truly... Well, let me ask you this. I'll push back. Do you need it?
Do you need what?
So if you're in business, so to speak, right? Just in business X, do you need it? Is, how, at what point will it just become apparent that that you're not live streaming and therefore XYZ?
So here's what the statistics are showing. The video is not optional. So whether it's recorded video that's edited and it's on demand, for example, YouTube, or uploaded natively to Facebook,
right,
or, somewhere, video is no longer optional. And that's what I teach now. Is 5 years ago, it was about, social media, your ROIs, you get to be in business. Right now, video, your ROIs, you get to be in business in 5 years, because the culture and how we consume information and content is completely shifting. By the year 2019, 85% of all content online will be consumed via video.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Even today, 59% of executives would rather consume the information via video than read a blog post of the same information.
I could see that.
59%. See, I was surprised because I pictured executives being like, let me just read it fast. Let me bottom line it,
Well, I can agree with that. Well, because one, I would think by now there's a lot. I mean, executives are skewing younger, and I don't mean by age, but I mean by just their expectations of the world and how they interact with it. So I would appreciate that. I think that makes sense. I also think that there's a piece of us, a big piece, which I'm banking on in my business, that as much as you want to learn and know, there's a piece of us that wants to be entertained just a bit.
Yes.
So I think if you can, and video is that. Video is that. And so I think the question is like what, how to keep that video engaging, especially if it's a consistent customer or you're consistently doing it, which is why you should pick up your book, Leverage live streaming to build your brand.
Thank you. And so, that leads straight into the question of, so should I do on-demand video or should I do live streaming? And of course, the answer is it depends. But the benefit of live streaming over live video is people know that it's live. They know there's no editing going on, and they get to know you in real time. And the more they get to know you, the more they can like you, the more they can trust you, and then the more they can engage with you offline in a professional way with, hiring you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Or buying your product or buying your service, because we are now wanting as a society to know who's behind the brand.
Yeah. Yeah. Because things are easy, right? Things are easy. And now it's like, what does this, like a Warby Parker or Tom's, right? You want part of the deal with Warby Parker, Tom's, or any that when you buy something, they're giving a certain amount of the proceeds, or even matching it to, some place that, I think, what is it? Tom's, they give shoes whenever you buy a pair of shoes. They give a pair of shoes to someone or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But that's a people thing versus just like, oh, I want this because this is cool and this is status. I mean, everything kind of becomes status, but it's, and especially now with the way politics are and even sports and kind of everything's kind of like has this line in the sand drawn about what side are you on. I think it is important to stake your claim as a brand so that people can choose to invest in not only your services or your product, but you.
Right. And Jason, I've been trying to think of an industry that wouldn't benefit from live video, and I haven't come up with one yet. The most absurd one that I can come up with would be a funeral home. But can you imagine if a funeral home could get very creative in educating people on what to expect? Right? Because we all need funeral homes. We just don't like talking about it.
Yes, my father, that's like his thing. Like when we were all in high school, he's like, you know what you should do? You should become a mortician. I'm like, but he's, so anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And so how nice would it be to get to know the mortician, the undertaker, before you need them, so that when you walk in, that's not also another scary thing. And we're all curious, what a safe way to find out what's in a funeral home, just looking at your phone. Like, you don't have to actually go in.
Yeah, it's private.
It is. It totally is. And so, but with live video, you can actually get to know people. Another great use for live video is showing, if you are wanting to attract quality employees, then you can show behind the scenes of what your company culture is like, and they can actually meet the people who they could possibly be working with and working for, with behind the scenes of a company.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, I was stuck on the mortician thing. But so the beauty of the gold medal mindset, right? Like, now somebody could be listening to this in their car and just take this and run with it. So I was thinking that I have a lot of old people in my family now. That's because I'm 43, which means I'm getting up there. That said, there's old people in my family, and the discussion amongst the children are, what do we do when the parents, are not around? And that's a big thing. And I've also seen that in other families where someone passes and there's literally no, I'm not talking like wills or estates. I mean, literally just like planning for that stuff, like what button to press, who to go, how to plan. So all of that stuff is very intimidating. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff that even besides picking what coffin you want, they can actually educate the consumer on how to be organized so that it's not a big family mess. There you go.
Yeah, there's so much. And,
anyways,
yeah. But that's applicable to all of us, regardless of the industry we're in. We want to, in our live streams, we want to address the pain points of our potential clients and the dreams of our potential clients. Mm-hmm. And so the more that we can offer solutions, the more that they can trust us.
Yes. Yes. Which makes my business hard a little bit sometimes because the solutions aren't always that easy. But that's, that's the business I chose. It's cool. That said, that's just another filter. So there we go. So when you coach people, are you coaching them in the live streaming space, in the marketing space, the branding space, or all of the above?
It's all of the above because you can't separate them. If you start live streaming, in fact, one of the biggest mistakes that I see with people is their marketing coach tells them live streaming is hot. I want to challenge you to go live every day for 30 days or 100 days. And here's what happens consistently. I see it over and over and over. And that is, the person trusts their marketing coach. So they go live because that's what they were told to do. The first day they go live, they've got a lot of viewers because everybody's curious as to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The second day they go live, it's about 50%. The third day, it's about 25%. By the fourth day and on, they have straggling viewers because they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a strategy. They didn't have a structure. They didn't address pain points. They didn't know how to structure, how to actually present. They didn't show up with authority and credibility. Now, if you're going live on your personal profile or on Periscope and you're just doing it for the fun of it, forget everything I'm saying. Just go have fun. Mm-hmm. Just go have fun. Mm-hmm. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But if you are doing this as a tool in your marketing belt, then it does pay to, take the time to learn, how do you create your avatar? How do you message? Make sure that your message is completely crafted for your ideal avatar. And how do you show up with authority and credibility? Because we have 8 to 10 seconds in the beginning of a live stream or anything really now to capture someone's attention. We could get 1 million viewers to your live stream, but if you're not showing up with authority and credibility and your message isn't on point, people aren't going to stick around, and worse, they're not going to come back. Are you there?
I am. That was weird. That was weird. So here's what happened.
What happened?
So I upgraded Skype, and this is awesome. So this is like live audioing. I'm not even going to edit this out. I upgraded Skype, as you know, and another call came in, and I hung up on them. And I know there's probably a button to press to not get another call, but that's never happened.
Right.
So I didn't know what to do, and then I thought I hung up on you, but you were there. But we did get the point across. So.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. So, and we're not going to begin the show with that because I would lose them in the first 8 to 10 seconds of nothing there.
8 to 10 seconds.
Jeez, that's so funny. Okay. Well, Jennifer Quinn, you've been great. I have a couple more questions, and the first one is, out of many that I've already asked, what's next? We talked about this journey as if you've arrived, but I feel like we're not talking about it in the correct context because I don't know. From outsider looking in, it seems like there's you're blowing up. So it's kind of like, what's next?
So what's next is continuing with the live streaming. I've got a couple more specialty books that are in the works to continue to help people because I truly believe that you can change the world one live stream at a time. So I'm all in on live streaming for that reason, because my life has changed with live streaming, and I've witnessed other people's lives change in profound ways, really just from watching someone else on live stream or doing their live stream or whatever. So definitely more books and more speaking. And, so with on the personal side, I accomplished the goal of losing half my body weight, and I've been sitting with that because it's a new normal, right? And so I'm just now, this is the first time I'm actually talking about it. I'm just now realizing I want to go further in that journey and shift from, being, I don't know if it's being thin, maybe shift from whatever that was, losing the weight, to now I want to be strong and toned.
I get it. You want to go from just like weighing a certain weight and whatever to being badass. You want to be strong and fit and capable.
Yes. 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 That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, then just say it, because that's what you want.
That is what I want.
That is what you want. I was thinking, I'm like, is she going to compete in like an Ironman or something? I knew it was something specific.
Well, nothing's off the table, because one thing that I've learned about myself is I get really excited at challenging myself and accomplishing the goal. So nothing's off the table.
All right. You heard it here first.
That's right.
The Gold Medal Mindset listenership can hold you accountable, and in a loving way, of course.
Of course.
All right. Last question. Do you have time for that?
Of course I do.
Okay. And I ask this to everyone, but what is one thing you wish every human being knew on a cellular level?
So this is it. Everything that we, and I got this. Can I tell you how I came to this conclusion first?
Yeah, of course.
I lost somebody really close to me about 5 years ago, and I went into the depths of grief, as we do. And what I came out with is, there is nothing more important than how we love. And we can have all the fun that we want with all these details of, accomplishing and achieving. And, sometimes we complain about all the stress in life and all those things, but it all comes down to love. That's the whole purpose that we even have each other in our lives. It's love.
Wow. When I become very inarticulate, I'm actually moved and touched, and here's why. Because I work with a lot of athletes, and when we make these big Olympic runs, they're huge emotional undertaking. Like they're just, it consumes you and the team and the family and it just keeps going. And I tell you, 1, 2, 3. So second run, so that's 8 years of this, and it no doubt, again, more me being inarticulate right now, but the bottom line is, it came down to the secret weapon, which is what I say, which is love. Like it boils down. Like a lot of times, it boils down to that. Like you're doing this for a reason, whatever that is. And there's an emotional attachment to that, I'm sure. And so, yeah, I mean, whether it's like family or pride or country or whatever you want to call it, or passion for the sport or whatever it is, or you were that little kid that was just, that everyone made fun of, whatever it is, right? Because you love that kid, right? Or you want to feel love or whatever it is, but like that is such the secret weapon. And I think people, they often underestimate that emotion as it's fuel, but they underestimate it as a motivator, or as a way to kind of actually execute something, in my opinion.
Wow.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard you say that before. That's awesome.
There you go. You brought it out of me. There you go. All right. Getting all emotional on the gold medal mindset. It's allowed. It's allowed.
Yes.
All right. So how, where, and when can people find Jenny Q Live? How, where, and when can people find Jennifer Quinn?
The easiest way is just go to jennyqlive.com, and it's Jenny with a Y. So jennyqlive.com, and I have links to all my socials there, and you can send me a message, and you can buy the book. You can do it all at jennyqlive.com.
Perfect. Thanks for taking the time to mine for gold on the Gold Medal Mindset podcast. Let's keep the conversation going on Twitter at RealDrJRich or on the web at drjasonrichardson.com. That's drjasonrichardson.com. Take care and have a great day.